Hi there, my name is Gwen Mc Hale. I'm a somatic therapist and educator working in the west of Ireland. So if you've been following my videos, you've probably noticed by now that I'm a big believer in really allowing ourselves our emotional experiences. Um, and something that people often ask me about is anger. People have, I think, in our culture, a lot of confusion around anger. You know, what it is, the purpose it serves. It seems that we've really demonized anger. Anger is seen as something inherently destructive, negative, to be avoided, dangerous. Um, it seems to me that all our human emotions serve a healthy purpose and also have the potential of becoming toxic. Um, this was just a little side note, and I think there's a lot of toxic positivity happening, a lot of spiritual bypassing, a lot of focus on that we should be always peaceful or always happy or always content. Um, and that actually happiness has become something toxic. It's like looking at a human being from an ecosystem's perspective. We need everything, or like the bacteria in your gut or something. We need a certain amount of different kinds for it to be healthy and balanced. And when anything gets too big, like too much weeds in the garden bed or something, nothing wrong with dandelions, but if they're taking over the whole garden bed and nothing else can grow, then you have a problem. So it's a little bit like that with the emotions. I think we're meant really to be able to experience a wide variety of different emotional states and respond to things that are happening with many different flavors and colors of expression. Um, Yet we have this culture that has divided emotion into positive and negative emotion. Positive emotions were to cultivate, negative emotions were to ignore at best. So, so anger is for most people generally really in the negative to be avoided camp. Understandably, there's a lot of bad examples of how to be angry and express anger and use anger in our culture. Um, we need to really make an effort, I think, to find positive examples of anger. They're harder to see. They're not highlighted in the media and in our cultural mindset. Mm. But the way I see anger is that the purpose anger serves, healthy anger, is to create change. Um, and that's something we need right now. It's something we're seeing in the world right now. A lot of anger, a lot of outrage. And it's like, well, how can that energy, so all emotion is an energetic phenomenon, how can that energy create positive change rather than mindless destruction or mindless violence? Um, and I think there's something in the difference between the experience of reactivity and response. So if I'm simply reacting to stimuli in a somewhat unconscious way, then I'm really not going to add anything positive to the experience, anything useful. But if I can really take time to notice the impact of things on me, to really honor the depth and breadth of my emotional response and feel my feelings both as emotions and as sensations. I really feel anger in my body. What happens in my body when I'm angry? It's like, oh, muscle tone comes up, there's heat. It's like, okay, so if I have been trying to suppress that for a really long time, then it's likely as that intensifies, I'll just explode, probably end up, hurting somebody that hasn't hurt me, maybe taking it out on people who are in a less powerful position than me, you know, um, shouting at our kids or kicking the dog. These are the kind of things that happen, unfortunately. Just really an outburst, an unconscious outburst that people often deeply regret and feel a lot of guilt about later. And the guilt then kind of a toxic guilt as well, which kind of fuels that suppressive impulse. It's like, oh no, anger is bad. Look what I did. I shouldn't feel angry. I won't let myself feel angry. And then in the volcano, the lava builds up even more in the volcano. So instead, if I can start to notice what anger feels like in my body, I can start to notice when my belly starts to tighten up just ever so slightly. Or I can honor that moment of like, oh, that person said that. And actually, I don't like that, or they said that they'd turn up at such a time and they didn't. And actually, I'm a bit ticked off about that. Or whatever it is, the little things that annoy us. When we can start to really honor those things and address them and feel the impact rather than deny it, I think that's the first stage in reaching a place of healthy anger. So honoring the little annoyances, because it's appropriate when a boundary is violated that we have a response of anger, that we feel angry about that. If agreements aren't held up to, or somebody has betrayed our trust in some way, it's appropriate that we'd feel a bit angry about that. Um, and I think often people's main concern when we talk about anger is, well, how do I express it? What do I do with it? Because anger is a real energy for action. It wants us to do something. It isn't enough with anger to just feel it. It actually seems to want us to do something. And I think that's appropriate. So that is an important question. What do I do with the anger? But the first thing is, can I just let myself acknowledge the anger and feel the anger? Feel it in my body and know what it is, know what this feeling is. Mm-hmm. So if I can honor that, and if I can kind of develop the capacity to, over time, more and more extend my tolerance for the uncomfortable sensations that come with that, and the internal criticism and defenses and the judgments that come with, oh, I shouldn't be angry and so on. If I can start to withstand that and kind of, occupy the space of my own anger, then what we start to notice is we start to feel more powerful. It's very empowering to be able to do that. It's like, yeah, I'm really upset about that. In fact, I'm really angry about that. Or I'm enraged at that injustice. I can really start to feel that. That is the first piece. And then I can make an informed choice, an empowered choice about how I want to respond to whatever it is that I'm angry about. And I think that's such an important life skill, otherwise we're just either suppressing or reacting unconsciously. And either of those situations is just going to cause more hurt in the world. Whereas feeling the anger, aligning myself to really honor that, stay present to that, feel into it, and wait. There's a waiting period, it's not impulsive. Like, I'm containing it, I'm waiting just long enough so I can get a real sense of clarity around right action. So I was like, so I might be about to do something that will have an impact, maybe that people won't like, that might rock the system or change something, or maybe even hurt someone's feelings. But if I've really sat with it and I feel really in my own integrity and I feel like this is absolutely the right action and I really know that, then I won't feel guilty about it. I'll be like, well, I might, but then that's another piece of work. But it's like, okay, I know this is right action. It's the right thing to do to tell that person that, I don't want them in my life anymore. Or it's the right thing to do to say to that person, it's really not okay that you're always late every time we meet. Or, you know what, I will not tolerate racist jokes anymore in my company. Whatever it is, it's like I've come to a place of knowing I'm not okay with this. And I'm going to let somebody know I'm not okay with this. So as you see, anger is also the fuel for good boundary setting. Just let that sink in. Anger is the fuel for good boundary setting. So if you're struggling in your life with not being able to set boundaries, then you probably have a piece of work to do around healthy anger. Okay, so that's my little piece about anger for today. And I see that perhaps another video on boundary work might be useful at some point. Okay. So I wish you all the very best, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.